Okay, abusuya Mustapha Hammid any OSP Honsense. Men no ada yeba eba be breaki e de maamo Mustapha Hammid a kyerese obo former president Akuffo Addo ne din a o say ne properties ne mu baako former president Akuffo Addo na de saa efie no eche no. Abusuya na yeba be custom mind back. Yede mo be kwa akura time a OSP kisi ejaben or drop charges against Mustapha Hammid obe make press conference say Mustapha Hammid ne criminal actor waye no na odi to da mom yankonko tie OSP mbra ne ye ba ene asema e wo ho no ye de abremo na asem we de asema abusuya esesema ankasa moko na moko tie sa asema ye de bremo but mom yankonko tie OSP time ana ode Mustapha Hammid charges ebono na ye ba ye de aka ba beto amoso mom yanko.
The OSP has also commenced investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences in respect of an alleged embezzlement of 1.3 billion cedis from the Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund (UPPF) at the National Petroleum Authority (NPA). National Petroleum Authority. In November 2024, the OSP commenced investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences in respect of the operations of National Petroleum Authority (NPA) and the activities of some of its officials. The OSP investigation has revealed that between 2022 and 2024, some high-ranking and other officials of NPA devised and implemented a corrupt scheme of using public office for profit through threats, intimidation, coercion, suggestions, bribery, and inordinate regulatory duress to obtain for their personal benefit large sums of money from oil marketing companies and other entities under their statutory regulatory, licensing, oversight, and monitoring mandates in the petroleum downstream industry. As at the close of business on 30 May 2025, the OSP had uncovered
OSP and Yakokoti na say or they charges ebo Mustapha Hammid. Na investigations no ekosono OSP freeze Mustapha Hammid ne assets ne properties ne sika ne bank account ne passport court free ne nsem ebusuya na enye asem keto akra na sisia no former president Mustapha Hammid abo former president din say wa man property be a property no say document enka ho OSP request for sa property a Mustapha Hammid say ode former president the amano or requested for documents and Mustapha Hammid actually say only documents na dan no former president and the man na abusuya sisi a die nti a ene ye ba be breaki update we the amamo ne say sisi a OSP oba be invite former president Akuffo Addo na say investigations are there akoso ni din na apie mu ewo Mustapha Hammid ne case ni mu no abusuya asem no very interesting na say Mustapha Hammid ebo former president Akuffo Addo din eno na ye de atoso nso amamo na o say the Republic versus Mustapha Hammid and 9 others Akuffo Addo gifts claim and hidden properties ke kujo rights abusuya inti haya na baba drop sa update ne de ma Mustapha Hammid say ne fie ne mu bi wo ho a former president Akuffo Addo edi amano edi amano inti no OSP ebe invite former president Akuffo Addo na investigations abem ni dina afinga in Mustapha Hammid mom yankonko tie ensema ekoso ewo political highway so unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afofron so ensa into me enkabi gossip politics TV and don't forget to click on the notification bell so na be any updates be dropping or bia no wonsa ebetumi akabi madam ase.
Is Nana Addo going to speak finally? And when he does speak, what would he say? Is the OSP going to subpoena the president, or better still, invite the president for a conversation? Or is he too big to be invited, even though his name has been fingered in a criminal case? In fact, Ghanaians might take this for a joke. But if this is a criminal case, somebody is being investigated for criminality, and the name of your president appears in there, it's almost like the Airbus issue that we were told bordered around criminality, bribery, and corruption. And the former president's name at the time featured in there. He didn't take kindly to that. He was mad and angry. Now, a former president has also been fingered in a gift of a house without papers. How about the other houses? Do they have papers? If yes, who owns them? Is it for all 10 of them, Mustapha, Hammid, and the 9 others? Or somebody has the lion's share? Mustapha, Hammid, and Baras's Akuffo Addo, Gabi. A few days ago, I walked into the office of Gabi Asari Ochridakon on his invitation. This is a very strong Pan-Africanist who in the past was known from England as one. But not many people know him as such. And when I met him, he told me so much about his Pan-Africanism. Gabi Asari Ochridakon. My brother, my sister, this man was seen as the Prime Minister of the Republic because he had the ear of his uncle, the President of the Republic. He has investments in Guyana, and he is starting a certain big project that is supposed to be called Borderless Africa. He said, Black Rasta, I invited you here because of Borderless Africa. I know who you are, and I want you to help me achieve this. For so long, we have tried to unite Africa, but this is a new movement. Please help me. Let us run with this idea. We don't need all the borders in Africa anymore. I asked him a few questions, and he answered, including what many people fear. If we become a borderless continent, people who are not taking good care of their nations, robbery and stealing, they will all now run into our country and steal from us. But all of us know, my brother, my sister, that it happened in Europe. There are thieves in Europe. There are armed robbers in Europe. But it's been controlled. Before that can happen, we all need to be able to come to a certain level with our economies so that it doesn't look like osmosis. Movement from a higher place to a lower place, or a lower place to a higher place. The conduit pipe must be flat so that each one can move here, that can move there, not because they are seeking better privileges, but just because of convenience and comfort. I believe you understand what I'm talking about. People don't have to run because their countries are worse. There are no jobs. Basically, people move for economic reasons. Not many people move because of tourism and all that. This is Gabi Asari Ochridakon. Now, when we were having that conversation, we veered into some other issues he had heard me talk about. And I want to concentrate on this. He told me one thing, Black Rasta, if there's one man I can vouch for, integrity, honesty, patriotism, love for country. I thought he was going to say Nana Addo, but he said Mustapha. I said, which Mustapha? He said, Mustapha Hammid. He said, this man is so honest. In fact, I have seen him turn away bribes. I have seen him run away from dishonesty. He is one man I can vouch for in terms of integrity. And I shook my head. I didn't want to go into any conversation, but I had to force myself into it. I said, why is he at the OSP's mercy now? He said, I don't believe anything will come out of it. Mustapha Hammid is clean like a whistle. I said, well, I like it when people believe and trust each other like that. And we left the conversation there. And I walked out. A few days later, Mustapha Hammid is invited by the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And there he's questioned about a certain house that he owns. And boom, Mustapha Hammid says, oh, the president, former president Akuffo Addo gave me the house. And I'm sure the president was sitting in his house and sweating like a pregnant alligator. My God. Provide the papers to the house. The president will never give you a house without proper documentation himself as a lawyer. Mustapha couldn't provide that. And whilst he started muttering and he got totally cacophonized, his lawyers jumped in and said, you are harassing our client. No, we will not allow this. Let's end this interrogation. And it ended. Today, my brother, my sister, I am not shocked, but I am flabbergasted. Let me use a smaller word. I am befuddled to see what I'm seeing. The OSP has seized property allegedly belonging to Mustapha Hammid. And I am shocked. Watch this. OSP seizes properties, cash linked to Dr. Mustapha Abdul Hammid and 9 others. And when you look at what it is, you will be shocked. Watch this. Now the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, says it has seized and is managing a range of high-value assets linked to the ongoing criminal case against former National Petroleum Authority CEO Dr. Mustapha Abdul Hammid and 9 others. Now the disclosure appears in the 2025 half-year report issued and signed by Special Prosecutor Kissie Jabeng. Now the seized properties form part of exhibits in the Republic versus Mustapha Hammid and 9 others, currently before the Criminal High Court in Ghana. Now, among the assets under the OSP management are 4 fuel stations in Opekuma, Dansuman, Abeka La Paz, and Millennium City, as well as 951,995 Ghana cedis. That's close to 1 million Ghana cedis, 0.56 in cash. A report by graphic.com GH has said. Now the office has also taken control of parcels of land across the country, including Tamale, valued at 9.93 million Ghana cedis. Wow. Hacho, valued at 2.737 million Ghana cedis. Danyame in Kumasi at 4.766 million, and an unvalued plot in Adenta belonging to Mustapha Hammid and also the 9 others. Now the OSP said it is further managing high-end residential properties in prime Accra areas, including a 2-story building at East Legon valued at 12.7 million, and apartments in Airport Residential Area, Boundary Road, Roman Ridge, Adringano, each worth several millions of Ghana cedis. Additional assets include 6-unit residential blocks at Akroma, valued at 10 million Ghana cedis, 23 fuel tanker trucks, and unfinished apartment developments in Airport City and Roman Ridge. Separately, the OSP has seized luxury vehicles worth 18.6 million Ghana cedis in connection with its investigation into the Minerals Income Investment Fund. Now, these include the Rolls-Royce Masonry, right? Mansory, Phantom, Mercedes-Benz Maybach, that's S680, Mercedes-Benz Brabus 800, Toyota Land Cruiser LC300, Lexus LX600, and 2 Fiat Bullion vans. The asset seizures follow criminal charges against Dr. Abdul Hammid and others, including former and current NPA officials and 3 private companies for allegedly conspiring to extort 291 million Ghana cedis from petroleum sector players. Dash it away. My brother, my sister, Mustapha Hammid boasted to everybody that there was no case against him. He told us in plain language, oh, as for me, my case is a dead case, a useless case. My brother, my sister, I like such boldness. But all of a sudden, there's a house in your name. You are asked to provide papers and you take offense. Why? Since when did we start owning houses in Ghana without papers? It's like driving a car and you do not have papers for the car. Who gave you this house? I am glad he didn't say he bought it from the street and therefore he couldn't trace whoever sold the house to him. He pointed at no mean person than the whole president of the republic. Hey! The president hasn't spoken. My brother, if it comes out that the president actually gave this man the house without papers, then the president is a thief. Since when do people bequeath houses to others with no paper? And Mustapha Hammid says, president gave me this house. Other houses have been found connected to these people in high-end areas in Accra. The Adjringanos, the East Legans, the Airport Hills, and over. Luxury vehicles, bullion vans, cash sitting in their account like pregnant toads. My God. Mustapha Hammid, in fact, has fingered the president of the republic. Will the OSP consider the president as an accomplice in this so-called thievery? I'm asking. If you are investigating a man for a certain crime and the case is in the criminal court and he starts mentioning people who gave him properties that you claim have been stolen, should they not automatically become accomplices? How many more people did the president give houses to without papers? Did the president encourage this? How about declaring your assets before coming into power? Mustapha Hammid said he got it whilst he was in office according to the OSP, and that it was given to him by the president of the republic. Information reaching me has said that the president is overly embarrassed and is asking why his name had to be mentioned in this. Ade, don't we have other people whose names could have been mentioned? Did the president really give this house to Mustapha Hammid? Has he regretted mentioning the president? My brother, look at the things that have been seized. Listen, not frozen. Be careful. It did not say that it was frozen. They have been seized and they are being taken care of by the office of the special prosecutor. In other words, if you freeze something, it can stay wherever it is, and you may not have to take care of that. But when you pull it out and seize it yourself, that means it's in your custody now, and you are the one taking care of that. The OSP seems to be very, very sure that Mustapha Hammid and the 9 others are nothing but criminals who have plotted to steal over 291 million Ghana cedis. How is Gabi feeling right now? Does he still believe that Mustapha Hammid is clean, just like the whistle?
Okay, abusuya we ne ensema ekoso Mustapha Hammid and Akuffo Addo honsensem ene OSP ni inviter or the babe invite former president Akuffo Addo and honsem ena yede ebremo. Any political trending stories are making waves or political highway ni so be an gossip politics aha ena obete de ekwa yenso yede ebremo. But am asem jepene kokuti sa ensem we edemai. Unsubscribe ya, subscribe, like and share na hit on the notification bell so that be any updates be able dropping on so on sa ebitumi aka bedamase.